TAGNBRAG Nation, welcome to another series of After the Chase. This is where we get to go through our strategies of every one of our hunts. You guys get to come with us and get into our heads and how we're thinking, how our emotions are playing into it, the information we're receiving, how all this is factoring in to the decisions we make on each one of our hunts. This series is even awesome for us because throughout the season, we're basically giving you guys content on a live or semi-live basis. So this is almost our film room session where we get to go back and we get to look at all the decisions we made and why we hunted in this certain spot, why we were hunting this specific deer, why were we making all these decisions, and we can kind of review and look at the whole season and look at specific hunts, specific trips, and kind of analyze and grade ourselves on how those hunts all played out. So for those of you that have been following us, North Dakota is our first trip of the year. It's the kickoff. It is arguably our favorite trip of the year. We're hunting when we feel like nobody else is. It's that late summer period. It's an incredible time of the year, incredible place to be. And it is such an anticipated trip. We can't wait to do it every single year. So I go out there a week prior to us going out to hunt. And we didn't do that the 2 years prior to this, just being busy, life happens. It's not always easy to get out there a week before, but we have felt that it plays a huge factor in a successful trip. Those couple extra days of scouting are really crucial. So when I go out there, I'm getting as many Moultrie cameras as I can out. We are utilizing it in some points. Whitetail Institute's tall tine, it's a feed. We're not always hunting over that stuff, but it's a great inventory check to see what deer are in certain areas. North Dakota is so open and it's so vast. You need eyes out there helping you scout on a trip like this that's timed to get the most information that you can. So I'm getting as many Moultries out as I can. We're going to spots that we've had good history with, maybe a couple of new spots. And on top of that, I'm scouting in the evenings and glassing, getting on high points to try and find a good buck or multiple. And that is our strategy that goes into this trip. Get as many eyes out as we can and see as much of North Dakota as we can to try to ultimately close in on the deer that we want to go after. So over the past few years, there was a buck that we called Maguire. In 2022, David actually had an encounter with him. We only had maybe 1 or 2 nights of photos of this deer. We kind of deemed him as a ghost at this point. Well, fast forward to 2023, and we were getting pictures of him again, very seldomly, but really felt like I was getting close to this deer. And we made a move several different times to hunt Maguire, and ended up laying eyes on him 2 or 3 different times in October. And he was just living in an area that big bucks do. He was surrounded by basically nothing. He almost felt untouchable. This deer was pretty consistently bedding in this big slough system that was surrounded by hundreds of acres of cut beans. Like, he kind of secluded himself in an island of cover. I mean, you felt like he was completely untouchable. There was no trees anywhere near him. There was no way to walk in and get anywhere near him. And so our strategy in 2023 in October was to hunt the closest spot we thought he was going to after he got up out of his bed. And in the short period of time that we had to hunt there, it just didn't happen. I saw him get up 2 or 3 nights in a row. One of the times was with another really good deer. I honestly thought he was going to make his way towards me, and they just never did. They did what bucks did. They had their own schedule, and it was awesome to watch him in his element, but he left me scratching my head just thinking, how am I ever going to get closer to this deer? And is this deer ever going to be huntable? Is he a huntable buck? When they seclude themselves out into the prairie like that in North Dakota, again, it's so open, it's so vast. You just feel like they're there, but there's no way to get anywhere near them. And that's how Maguire left me feeling after October of 2023. We always tend to leave a couple cameras out after our final trip of the year there, which was October of 2023, and we never got a photo of Maguire after we left in October. And honestly, didn't know if he got shot or what, but we just thought he was gone. We thought our chances of ever seeing the deer or hunting them were over. So my scouting trip in 2024, I naturally kind of go to his area first. I'm putting out a handful of Moultrie cameras, getting as much scouting as I can done. And there's those first couple of days, and he's in the back of my mind. It's just like, is he there? Is he alive? And in the 2 years prior, he was not around a lot at all in August and September. So I'm thinking the chances are minimal at best, but let's just see what happens. Well, got a lot of cameras out, do my scouting in the evening, and lo and behold, our first picture of a deer in North Dakota in 2024, it's Maguire. I can't even tell you what was going through my mind when I got that first picture. Like, I still had a full extra day of scouting, and it almost was all out the window at that point. Like, I didn't even care. I just got the confirmation that he was there, and I knew that in a week and a half when Dave and I came back, it was game on. Like, this deer's alive, and it's go time for us. We are on the home stretch, baby. Feels friggin' awesome. It feels so good. One of our favorite trips of the year. We got some really nice deer on camera this year, so it's really exciting. And just honestly, I can't wait to get cracking. We got 2 nights to scout and do our thing, get set up, mainly get our tree stands and spots set up, because the cameras are doing a lot of work for us. And then in 48 hours, we'll be suiting up. That's pretty wild. And I know jitters are going to be through the roof, because they already are. I've already not been able to sleep very well for the last 3 weeks. A week and a half, really, watching the trail cameras has been rough. So, it's true. Moultrie's killing me right now. Killing the sleep. Killing it. But truck's loaded. We got to unload groceries, all of our stuff, get it a little bit in order, and then we got to go do little deer chores. We got to go adjust a couple cameras and put some tall tine out, get it freshened up for the next few days. Right, Nelly? Nelly's like, get me out. Get me out of the truck. Get me out of this home. My current home. Yeah. Dave and I were going out of our minds on our drive back out for the actual hunt. The preseason scouting trip paid off 100%. We had a bunch of daylight photos of Maguire. We had a bunch of daylight photos of another awesome 5-plus-year-old buck called Delante. We called Delante. We were honestly coming out of our skin in anticipation of going back out there. So our stand strategy to hunt Maguire was we put a stand in, we call it our old faithful spot. It's a tree we go to every single year. It's a spot we go to every single year. We always get a bunch of the deer in the area in this particular spot on trail camera. It's just a great setup to get in and out of this tree row. So we naturally put a stand there. And on the flip side, there's another tree row. It's actually about 200-300 yards that runs parallel to the other one. And we put another stand in the end of this tree row. Well, this is basically a single tree row. This old faithful tree row is very thick. It's probably 20-30 yards wide. And if you're on one side of it, you really can't see the bean field that's on the other side. You're basically hunting one side of the tree row. Well, this other narrow tree row is, like I said, it's one line of trees. And when you're on the end of it, it's incredible because you can see basically more than 270 degrees in every direction, and you get much more of a vantage of where we suspected Maguire was bedding, where he was living, especially where we saw him that previous October. This was actually the tree I was hunting in October of 2023 when I had several encounters with McGuire. So aside from the awesome vantage that this tree gives you, it's probably one of the bushier trees on the tree row, and it's got the best cover. It sets up perfect for self-filming. One, being able to see everything helps you a ton. It's got multiple trees within reaching distance to put your camera gear, and we use the topography of the land to get in and out of there. So it actually is right on top of basically an elevation, a little knoll, big knoll that we dip down into to enter and exit out of this tree stand. So from where McGuire is bedding, he cannot see you walking in and out of this particular tree setup. So let's talk a little bit about the access getting into both of these stands. Well, this happened to be an extremely wet year, and coming in from the south on the thicker tree row, you have to go through basically a slough, a tractor trail between a slough to get there. Well, this was completely underwater. So you could only come in from the north, which was closer to that north tree row. And walking out that extra distance past a lot of this cover where the deer hang out was not nearly as suitable for access into that tree row. So that made this north tree row, this skinnier tree row, a much better decision to get in and out of. So going into opening day, I was so anxious. Like, I literally, having a week to a week and a half of daylight photos of McGuire, I was on edge, honestly. Like, that day, I can't even eat. I am so jittery, so nervous, excited, because I know that he's in there. It's just a matter of what he's gonna do, and I gotta make the right decision on where to go. We have 2 stands hung at the end of these tree rows, and it's basically a coin toss. We have pictures of him in daylight on the Moultries in both tree rows. So, and it almost seemed like it was every other night he was on one or the other. It was literally a coin toss, and the wind, factoring in the wind, it was a little bit better of a decision to stick to that north tree row. And honestly, it was in both of our guts, but David ultimately made the final push to say, this is the tree you need to be in. And we made the decision, and that's what we did.
Really starting to calm down. It's actually good because the wind will play a little less of a factor. And we should be able to hear the deer coming, which is a big advantage, because if they get up and start moving, a lot of times out here in North Dakota, they want to go from A to B, and they will just run there, and they can end up in your lap before you know it. And self-filming, when you got to turn on several cameras and get everything on and adjust it, it can happen very quick. So we're going to try to make this happen for you. It's funny, it doesn't feel like long ago when I was in this tree. Not that it was super long ago, but middle October last year, was in this tree hunting literally the same buck. There's 2 or 3 other bucks in here that are shooters also. And Lord willing, I'd be more than happy to tag any of them. But it's cool to know, actually 2 of them, I should say, are 2 bucks that we were hunting last year. I in particular was spending the most time over here hunting them. And they're both still alive. They both look incredible. And they're just big, old North Dakota deer. 6+ year old bucks, so they're gonna be smart, and they are just big prairie roaming deer. But they have, at least one in particular, has been moving in daylight quite a bit, so hoping this calm weather and warm temps doesn't hold them back. It hasn't held them back the last week and a half, so Opening day, folks. Let's go. Dave and I wanted to team up this week, which we still probably will and might, but we've got several different bucks in different areas daylighting, and you got to take advantage of the time when that's happening. So we split up to try to double the odds. It's also double the challenge doing it by yourself. So God bless.
It's really hard to explain the anxious feeling when I first got into the tree. Got in the XOP, got hooked up. Season's here, 2024, we're underway. The bow's in my hand, and the deer I want to be after, I know is in this area. And I'm basically facing the vast open bean field. And in the areas that I saw him in 2023, I'm thinking in my head, I know where he's bedded. And I kind of faced that way throughout most of the evening. The wind was right in my face. That's why we chose to go into that particular tree. And I waited there all evening, got in there early. I hadn't seen the deer yet. It honestly took a lot longer than I thought. And probably about an hour before sunset, the wind completely 180s, and it's now drifting towards where I kind of think he's bedding. And I'm scratching my head going, this is not good, because it was angled in a spot where maybe it wasn't right where I thought he was bedding, but I said, if he gets up and he starts coming towards me, he's going to walk right through my wind. It's going to happen. So about an hour before dark, I look to what is my east, and I see a doe stand up out of a slough. It's another little slough system that's right in the middle of the bean field. And she gets up, it's 10 minutes, I see another doe stand up with her. I knew they had just got up out of bed, and they just were feeding. They were real calm. And I thought, this is interesting, because these deer are right where my wind was blowing pretty much all evening, and now it's not. And as they were feeding, they kept looking into the slough intently. And David and I always pay attention to deer's behavior and how they act in certain areas. But we always know when they're doing that, especially in North Dakota, I'm thinking something else is in that slough. Well, it probably wasn't another 5 minutes that went by, and I see another dark deer down there, and I throw my glasses up, and I see the rack, and it's Maguire.
I just spotted Maguire. The wind is actually now more in my favor. Based off of where he is, we got about 10-15 minutes till sunset. So I got some time. He just got up out of bed. He just got up. Where are you going? Where are you going? Come on, baby, come on. we'll see what happens here, but at this rate, he's with a couple doe and they don't have an urgency to go anywhere. I mean, he's just back and forth, not really a care in the world, honestly. Damn, he's got to get moving, but looks like he wants to make a move. Got 25 minutes.
So I'm literally losing it because this deer is in the complete opposite direction that I thought he'd be coming from. He was in my wind throughout the whole early part of the afternoon and evening, and now, by the grace of God, the wind switches in my favor to where he is, which is where I thought he wasn't. Honestly, I couldn't have drawn it up like this. It was crazy to me. But in my head, I'm going, wow, this is actually working out literally perfect. And I watched that deer for what felt like hours. It was probably only about 10 minutes. And he just was in no hurry to go anywhere. In fact, he started working his way, feeding through the beans in the opposite direction. And I'm thinking, wow, this is awesome. I see the deer and getting great footage of him and got to learn a little bit. But I'm thinking the first 5 to 10 minutes I've watched him that this is not the night it's going to happen. He's going to go in the other direction. And no sooner did I think that, the doe turned and they kind of worked their way up towards my tree row. And he just kind of turns and slowly starts following them. And I knew at that point where they were ultimately going to make their way to, and that was me. And I was, at that point, just worried, how long was it going to take them to get to me? It's crazy to me how some of these deer act in North Dakota. They can sit in a spot and feed for 5, 10, 15 minutes, and you feel like that's where they're going to be all night. But when they commit somewhere, they can get somewhere in a hurry. And as soon as those deer committed to going up to my tree row that I'm in, I really thought, wow, this might actually happen. And it was a wild feeling because as soon as they get up to my tree row, they made a beeline straight from my tree row, hundreds of yards away though. And because of the trees and the leaves and the foliage, once they get there, I can no longer see them anymore. So I just had to hope and trust that when they got there, they were going to take the tree row straight down to me. And the deer like to do that out there. They like to stay around the cover. But it was a crazy waiting game when I saw him disappear, because I'm just waiting for a deer to show up that I don't know which direction they're going. But only a few minutes went by and I'm ducking down on my XOP trying to see underneath the canopy, and I see legs coming down the tree row. I throw my glasses up and it's the first doe, and look behind her, I see more legs coming. It's the second doe, and I don't see anything behind them, but I know there's no way Maguire followed these doe up the tree row and is not somewhere behind them. So I just stayed patient, and it wasn't a few more minutes and I see his legs walking down the tree row towards me, and I'm coming unglued in my mind. My heart is pounding, but I know where he's coming, I know where he's going, and I'm just trying to calm myself down, thinking, don't let your nerves get to you. Let this happen and make a good shot.
Be done. Be done. Be done. Be done. Be done. Yeah, baby. Yes, Lord. Thank you, baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. Maguire is down. Holy good Lord. Yeah, baby. David, we did it. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. This is the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Oh my God, what a stud. What a stud, baby. We did it. We did it. We did it, baby. Oh my God. You have got to be kidding me. That was incredible. Incredible. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Oh my God, watched him come in from forever away. Forever away. Oh my God. Let's go. Oh my God, I've never had. You gotta be kidding me. Thank you, God. David is gonna freak. I gotta make sure there's nothing there. Oh my God. Plenty of time to spare. Let's go. Yes. You gotta be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. God is so good. I have been saying prayers the last 2 days that David and I would connect. Been hunting that deer for 3 years. David had an encounter with him 2 years ago. I hunted him in October, had our sights on him and could never get close to him. And he is down. He was crashing through the beans, had beans all over his rack. I hearted him. He was actually a touch farther than I thought he was, and I had my 20-yard pin on him, but I smoked him. Thank you, Lord God, it's incredible. Let's go, let's go. Oh my God. Let's see, we gotta see if anything's,
I came unglued when I made that shot. There were so many emotions that just poured out of me. All of that nervous energy I had throughout the whole day. Getting incredible footage of him coming in, and incredible footage of him running away with beans hanging off his rack, and I watched them go down. And these are literally the moments you dream about, like laying in bed at night or being in another tree stand, just visualizing and thinking. Like, I dream about making that phone call to my brother that we just got it done. And being able to do that and letting our emotions just all pour out it's a feeling you can't describe. It was opening day. We have a week to 8 days planned to hunt, and on night one to get it done on a buck that we've been after for 3 years, that you think, or at least I thought in my head, was honestly unhuntable. I thought that deer was untouchable. And to be able to do that on opening day on that special of a deer is a feeling that you cannot describe. It was absolutely incredible to experience that.
There he is. Got him? Right here. Dude. Unreal, dude. We freaking did it, man. Look at that buck. Look how heavy he is. Unreal, dude. Are you kidding me? David, you gotta be kidding me. Look at the mass on that buck. That is unbelievable, dude. That is a freaking hoss. Look at the mass on that deer. In perfect velvet, dude. I am shook. What a buck. Look at how pretty that is, dude. That's nuts. That is nuts, dude. That is a heavy racked buck. I'm shook. This deer is 6+ years old. This is I mean, this is my most impressive deer I've ever killed. By far, best story, best feeling. I have no words. What a pretty buck. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, this is out of control. I'm shook, dude. I'm shook. Look at the mass. That is so awesome, man. Different caliber of buck. Gosh dang. Dude, look at the head on that giant. That is a North Dakota monarch. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It really doesn't. You cannot.
Congratulations.
I don't know. Thanks, dude. I don't even know what to say. We had two stand options back here, and I had in my head leaning towards this, but David was like, no, this is the one you got to go to. I'm feeling it. And he was, the last couple days, other than yesterday, he was at the other, in front of the other camera. I don't know. You just got to go with the feeling, and sometimes it works out. But that is as pretty of a deer as it gets. I'm shook. I'm shook. Oh my God. We've had 3-4 years worth of trail camera pictures of this deer. He's been like so mysterious. David had an encounter with him 2 years ago. Almost killed him. I think he was 4 then. Hunted him all October. Well, not all October, but when we were here. Had some cool encounters with him just from a distance, but he was just in his domain and never could get close to him. And you should see what he looks like in October, but it doesn't get any better than this. He's been pretty much a 9 his whole life. He's flopped as G4 almost every other year. Dude, that is too good, man. I'm shook. I'm shook. Thanks, dude. There's no better way to do it. You and I out here, I don't know. This is how it all started out here. This is what, year 12? Gosh dang, dude, this is unreal. What a freaking stud.
I mean, what a special feeling being able to walk up and recover that deer. Not only was Dave with me, but it was a beautiful night. Literally, the stars are picturesque over our head, and picking up any deer for the first time is pretty incredible. But one that you have that much history with, to me, is just on a different level. There's deer out there that you almost feel like they don't ever see humans. It's so vast and open, and I think coming down to it, as I've stated earlier, I just felt like this deer was so untouchable. He was a ghost. He was a prairie roaming buck that you felt like you could never get your hands on. And to be able to do that on opening day, where so many things have to go right to be able to put a tag on a buck like that, and it's so often that all those things don't line up. And for whatever reason, on opening day of 2024 in North Dakota, the stars aligned and it all happened literally perfectly. And I can't explain why it did, but it was such an incredible feeling the whole evening. And then going to recover that deer with my brother under the stars was insane. And then on top of that, we go to take pictures of this deer, and you look up and the northern lights dancing like I've never seen northern lights do before. It was just, there was nothing I would have changed with the whole beginning of that trip. It was absolutely perfect. There were so many things that played a factor into this hunt. Access was huge. I actually didn't know this walking in, but I almost did a 270-degree partial circle around this deer's slough, but our access coming in on this road and staying low played a huge factor in it, and he just didn't know I was there. The stand placement was huge because we suspected we knew where he was bedding, but I could see multiple bedding areas from this particular stand location. The other stand location, that was not the case. So this tree allowed me to be able to see these other bedding areas, to see that he was coming from a completely different direction. And it wouldn't have been a successful hunt if I hadn't had that visibility in this specific tree set up, picked out. It's insane how much has to go right, and it all did. It just all did. Right from where the deer was laying to me walking around him and he didn't even know, to for some reason the wind switched to what was originally out of my favor, but it was actually switched into my favor throughout the night. Like, everything went perfectly that night. So after we took a few photos, then we go back and we meet up with Kane. Kane didn't hunt that night. I think he had schoolwork to do, and he was with us a lot of the trip, which was awesome, but he gets as fired up as we do. So to be able to share that moment with him and to see his excitement for the deer and share it through him was incredible. He's our North Dakota brother, and we share the ups and downs all with him. And then to take these photos under the northern lights, like, Kane lives out there and he experiences a lot of these incredible skies, but when he was looking up, seeing his excitement with these northern lights, like he had never seen anything like it before, just reiterated to me how insane this night was, because it wasn't a normal northern light night. It just, they were dancing like crazy. They were putting a show on for us in God's country after a successful night, and we do not take that lightly, how much we appreciate that and soak in moments like that. Like I said, I'll remember almost every minute of that day for the rest of my life, up until 2 or 3 in the morning when we finally got done with everything and got a chance to finally lay down and really let it hit all of us. It was one for the books. And the best part was, this was opening day, literally opening day. Couldn't have gone better. And we still had a week left to hunt for Dave to now get after it. Now I could be with him. I could film with him. And it made us that much more excited about the rest of the trip, because we had all that time and we already had an incredible day in the books.